Hello everyone and welcome back. It is quite a bit later than I normally film my videos, but I was just really having trouble getting sleepy to go to bed tonight, and Elle Fowler, who I love and I watch her old videos all the time, she used to film her book videos at night, and so I thought instead of waking up early tomorrow to film it, I was just gonna film it tonight because I am such a night owl. I honestly prefer to stay up late rather than wake up early, and so I thought, why not just film a cozy little book video at night? So I have my tea I'm drinking, in case you're curious. Oh, it doesn't have it on there. This I think is the chamomile and honey something, and it's so good. Normally I'm a mint tea girl, but I've been really liking this one. I really like the honey flavor in it. But I have my tea. I highly encourage you to get a tea or a snack of your own because I have a lot of books to talk about and I have a feeling this video is going to be long. So I don't even know if I've mentioned what we're doing, but I did some shopping and I have a major book haul for you. I just thought we could go through all the books that I bought, talk about them, why I bought them, what interested me about them, that kind of thing. So I think let's just get right on into it. I'll have to put down my tea and take sips between. I think I'm just gonna pull from the top of the stack, and the first thing that I see is this book called Camera Girl. This is by Carl something Anthony, and this is a biography on Jackie Kennedy. But what's really cool about this book is that it is a biography on Jackie's early life. So this kind of follows her early 20s years, and something that I did not know, but that she was actually pursuing a career as a writer before she met JFK, before she was really drawn into that whole world. But she was working at the Washington Times Herald, and she was the inquiring camera girl. So basically she would go out with her camera on the streets of Washington, D.C. and take portraits of people and then ask them questions and write a column about it, which I just think is so cool. And I had no idea that that was part of her life. I feel like people always think about her with JFK, obviously. It's cool that this book kind of talks about the lesser known part of her life. This book goes through some of those columns. So this Carl Anthony guy who wrote it, he goes through her columns and even finds some of her like lost columns and kind of paints a picture about her early life before she was Jackie O. And I'm just really excited to read more about her. And this book is also really cool because it has an entire section in the middle with photos of her from her early years, like from her in her 20s and when she was living in Washington, D.C., like this book is talking about. So I'm just really excited to read this book. I have been trying to get more into nonfiction, and I have realized that I have to pick nonfiction books about things that I'm interested in, which is like the most basic concept ever, but I am more likely to read a biography for sure, or a memoir written by someone, because I love knowing about people's lives, and I am obviously very interested in Jackie O, and I think it'll be really cool to hear more about her as an early 20-something-year-old. The next book I have is Love Unwritten. This is the second book in the Lakefront Billionaire series, and this is the series that the author is writing a third one in this year. When I did my TBR for this year, I think I said that she was writing another book in her other series, but she's actually writing a new book in this series, and I read Love Unwritten, which is the first one in the series, last week, and I really liked it. It is a romance series, obviously about lakefront billionaires, but I think what I liked about it was that the whole billionaire concept wasn't as unrealistic as some books, because you know when you read those romance books about billionaires and they are just so unrealistic to your everyday person, even though this parts of this book were, like the whole part about the guy being a billionaire wasn't used as like a power play, or it was kind of on the back burner. And so I just really liked the first one in this series, and I'm excited to read this one as well. So this book follows Raphael and Ellie, and those are two characters that we're introduced to in the first book. Raphael is the cousin of the main guy in the first book, and Ellie is his nanny. So I think it was cool because they really set up this story in the first book, which I know sometimes you will get that with these like interconnected standalones, but this one was actually very well set up. We learned from the first book that that Raphael's son, he has an ex-wife and a son, and he's the primary caregiver of his son, and his son has a genetic condition where he's slowly losing his sight, but he loves to play music. And so Ellie, who is his nanny, is also his music teacher. At the end of the last book, Raphael's talking to his son, and he's like, who do you want to take on our vacation? Because you can take whoever you like. And the son is like, I want to take Ellie. And you can see where Raphael really isn't excited to take his nanny on his vacation, but that's what this book is about. It's about Ellie going on vacation with Raphael and his son, and obviously romance ensues. So I'm really excited to read this one. I have heard people say that they actually liked this one better than the other one, and I liked the other one too. I thought that I was kind of giggling at some points. Like, I thought that the personalities of the characters are really well written, and I liked their connection, and it wasn't as cringy as I thought it was going to be. So I'm excited to read this one as well and read about Raphael and Ellie, of course, falling in love. The next two books that I have are part of the Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder series, or the Hannah Swinson Mystery series. And this is a series that I started reading probably 4 years ago, and this is book 8 and 9, I think, in this series. And the Hannah Swinson Mystery series is just the most cozy mystery series you will ever read. Think of what a Hallmark movie is. That is what these books are, but they're about a baker who solves murders. They're so good. I recommend the first one, the Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder, to so many people in the bookstore, and I've heard that a lot of people actually like it too. It's not a series that you have to read back to back. You can kind of just pick up the next book in the series here and there, which is what I do, because everything is wrapped up in that one book, and there are certain plot lines that will continue throughout the books, but it's nothing pressing. Like, nothing ever leaves on a plot twist, and there are literally over 20 books in the series, and so it's just nice to kind of take your time and go through them. But I bought the next two ones because all of the books are kind of seasonal. There's normally like a book every season, so this is the spring and summer books of like the year that I'm in the series. So just give you a little background on the series. Hannah Swinson is the main character, and she lives in this town called Lake Eden, and it's either in Minnesota or Michigan, but she owns a bakery, and it is a very picturesque, Hallmark-esque town where everyone is in each other's business, everyone knows everyone, and you just really grow to love the townspeople as well. But basically, Hannah gets involved in these murders every single book, and of course she's always the one that solves them. Her mom and her sister are always involved, and every character is just so lovable, and the books are very formulaic, which is what I love about them, because I just know that I am going to be satisfied by the end of the book, because it's going to be in a cozy town with like the most everyday problems, and yes, that there is a murder, but it's always a murder of someone that you don't actually like, and I just really love these books. So this is the 8th one, and this is Cherry Cheesecake Murder, and this one is about a movie comes to town and turns Lake Eden's main street into a movie set. Of course, someone is killed, and of course Hannah seeks to find the killer. And then the 9th one is Key Lime Pie Murder, and this one is about the Tri-County Fair, and Hannah is judging the baking competition, and one of her fellow judges gets murdered, and she tries to solve that mystery as well. I am not a huge mystery reader. I get very scared very easily, and if you are anything like me, try these out if you're wanting to try a mystery book. I really love mystery books as almost like a palate cleanser in between my epic fantasy books, just because I know they're always fast paced, especially these. They're not going to take me very long to read, and they're just fun. I really love them. I was introduced to the mystery genre more through my book club last year, because most of the girls in my book club are solely mystery readers, and it kind of got me into the taste of the genre, and I just had to find the books in that genre that I like, because again, I don't like anything too scary, I don't like anything too intense, and these are probably the most tame mystery books that you can get. I mean, they're literally called the Cherry Cheesecake Murder and the Key Lime Pie Murder. So, and also something that I didn't mention is that there are recipes throughout the book. So whatever Hannah is baking in the book, which is also a part of the coziness because she's always baking something, obviously owning a bakery, but whatever she's doing in the book, they always have the recipe throughout. So there normally ends up being 5 or 6 recipes throughout the book, but this is literally like ooey gooey chewy cookie bars, and it's just fun, and I love the series. So Chocolate Cookie Murder series, give it a try. Okay, the next series that I have, this is the Eye of Mine series by James Dashner, and this is actually, I bought this based on a literature video that I watched of Elle's. I mean, I've watched her literatures a million times, but I was watching this one recently and I forgot how much I loved the Maze Runner series. So James Dashner is the one who wrote the Maze Runner series, and that was such a staple in my like middle school, early high school reading, because that's how old I was when those came out. And I absolutely ate up the books. I loved the movies, and there's something about dystopian and like science fiction novels like that I just love, because I really grew up in that era with Divergent and the Hunger Games. And so when I saw her talking about this series, I was like, I just want to try it and see what I think. And of course I couldn't just buy the first one, I had to buy the whole series because I don't know, I'm addicted to buying books. The Eye of Mine is the first one, and then actually, The Rule of Thoughts is the second one, and The Game of Lives is the third one. Basically, the premise of this book is that in this world, there's this thing called the VertNet, and this is a virtual reality world that this dystopian world is kind of based on. So I think it's kind of like you go into this setting and somehow your mind is connected to this virtual reality world, so when you're in it, you're fully immersed in it. It's like a mind and a body immersive experience, and you can do basically anything you want in this virtual reality world without any risk or like reprimand. So you can try to see if you can fly and jump off a cliff, and if you know you can't fly and something bad happens, then nothing will actually happen to you because you're just in this virtual reality world. But the reason why it's so immersive is that you feel everything. So like if you fall off the cliff and break your arm, you're gonna feel the pain of breaking your arm, but you're not gonna actually break your arm in the real world, if that makes sense. So our main character is a hacker, and he is able to hack the system somehow, and we don't really know from the back of the book how he's able to hack the system or why he does, but what we do find out is that the government wants to hire Michael because another hacker has hacked into the virtual reality, and he's ended up holding other players hostage, but somehow has been able to connect to them in the real world because their bodies in the real world are pronounced brain dead. And so there's some sort of hacker being able to figure out where these people are and connecting to them through the virtual reality into the real world, which is obviously not supposed to happen because that's the whole point of a virtual reality world. So they hire Michael to basically hack the hacker, and I think our story just continues from there. So I'm excited. I don't know, I feel like it's kind of video game-esque, and I don't play video games and I don't know a whole lot about video games, but I think the whole idea of AI and virtual reality is so interesting, and obviously this book was written a while ago before AI even is what it is today, so I'm excited. I just love a good dystopian novel, and since Elle liked these, I thought I might like them as well. So the Eye of Mine trilogy. Next up we have a good old-fashioned romance book. I was just very drawn in by this cover. It's so beautiful with the pink and the champagne glasses, and I thought the premise of this book sounded cute too. So this is about a girl, what is her name? Molly. So Molly moves from her city life in London to the countryside, to the English countryside, because her husband, that's like his dream, is to live out on a farm or something in the English countryside and just like live that slower paced life. And she loves her husband, and that's what his dream is, so she decides to move out there with him, obviously. But we find out that he unfortunately passes away. And so Molly is kind of stuck in the middle of nowhere on the English countryside, not really knowing what to do, like if she should abandon her husband's dream and go back to London. And she finds out that a distant relative who had recently passed away left her his London townhouse, and she is like, this is the exact thing that I've been needing. I wanted to get back to London. I think I want my city life back. But when she gets there, there is a man, a very handsome man, of course, living in the townhouse. And so he becomes her roommate, and we love a good roommate trope. And so it says, will the bright lights of the city reveal Molly's own dream once and for all? So I'm assuming she's gonna fall in love, because how could this be a romance book without a little falling in love action? But I'm excited. I think the whole idea of a roommate and like her moving back into the city and living her new glamorous life, I just think I'm gonna really enjoy this. And I love this cover so much. So that was Catherine Elliott about last night. I need a little tea break. I want to know what you all are reading right now. If you all have any book recommendations or books that you're loving right now, please leave them down below. Obviously, I have plenty of books to spare. I need to be reading these, but there's something I love more than buying books, especially since my family owns a bookstore now. It's a little easier for me to go and get a major haul. So I guess I should make that disclaimer that my family does own a bookstore, so I do get these at wholesale price, which allows me to probably buy a little more than I would have normally done at Barnes & Noble or whatever. But I have always been the person that has to buy multiple books at a bookstore. I could never just run into Barnes & Noble and get the next book in the series. I would always leave with, you know, a random romance that I found or a random historical fiction that I found. Yeah, let me know if you all are reading anything good right now. I don't need recommendations, but I would love to hear your recommendations if you have anything that you think I should read. Okay, back to the books. So this next book that I have is, I'm really excited about this series. I'm hoping this will be another similar series to the Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder series, but this one is called the Joanna Hayworth series, and this is a fashion mystery series. So Joanna Hayworth, she is a vintage clothing store owner, and in this particular one, she is in a kind of tight financial spot. She's wanting to expand her store, and her plans are kind of derailed, and she's in this kind of precarious financial situation, and she goes to an auction and she bids on this trunk of vintage designer clothes, and she wins. And so she thinks that her luck is turning, and you know, she's going to be able to sell these beautiful designer clothes at like a marked up price and kind of get her business back on track. Well, of course, something goes wrong. So the woman who owned the trunk was this high society matronly lady, and she was a very fancy elder lady, but she winds up poisoned, and the police seize the trunks of the clothes as evidence in this murder situation. And so Joanna is kind of right back to where she was, and she's like, the only way I'm gonna get these back is to prove that, you know, these trunks were in my possession when it all went down. So the only way to prove that is to solve the murder, of course. So she goes down that path, I guess, to solve the murder. I'm excited to see how I feel about this one. This is going to be another fun little mystery series for me. I love they're all connected to fashion. So this one is called Dior or Die. Did I even say that? The title of this one is Dior or Die. And they're all like fashion centric. So yeah, she solves the murder. But what I really loved about this one is that the back of the book says, the clothing's high society matron owner turns up poison, and the police seize the wardrobe, leaving Joanna with more debt, plus a friend wrongly jailed for diamond theft, and a convent of quirky nuns depending on her help. There's only one way to calm her waters: find the murderer and fast. Like, what are nuns doing in this book? I don't know, but I'm excited to read it. I'll definitely keep you updated if I liked it or not, if this can be another little cozy mystery series for us to read. I love this cover, and I love the fact that it's called Dior or Die. I have my heated blanket on top of me right now, and it's making me feel so cozy. The next two books that I have are both books that I also found from an Elle Fowler video, and I'm pretty sure I've read this one before, but I couldn't remember, and so I bought it anyways. I think I would like it, but part of me feels like I've read this. But this one is called Entwined by Heather Dixon, and this is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling. And 12 Dancing Princesses is one of my favorite Barbie movies. I've always loved that story, and I remember reading a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling in middle school or high school, and that would have been around the time when Elle would have actually posted this video. And I want to say that I have read this because even the cover kind of looks familiar to me, but either way, I'm gonna read it again if I have, and I'm excited. The main girl's name is Azalea, and something happens and her freedom is taken away. We don't really know why from the back of the book. She is kind of trapped in this world that she doesn't want to be trapped in, and so someone called the Keeper, who has been trapped and held for centuries within the walls of the palace, extends an invitation to her and her sisters to come dance in his silver forest. So basically her and her 11 sisters go every single night through this magical portal in their room, literally like the Barbie movie. I love it so much. And they go and they're able to dance to their heart's content in his silver forest. But the back of the book says, he extends an invitation at a cost. The keeper likes to keep things. Azalea may not realize how tangled she is in his web until it's too late. And the other book I bought based off of one of her videos, it's so funny because this one and Entwined were both books that we couldn't get at the bookstore, so I had to buy them from Barnes & Noble, and I had to get this one as a used one. I just do not like used books. I don't know what it is about it. They just, oh, I don't know. I'm just not a used book person. My mom loves a good used book. We actually have a whole shelf of used books at the bookstore, but this one ended up being used, and it's not in like bad shape or anything, but it's just funny that the two books that I found that were popular in 2011 couldn't be bought from our wholesaler, so I had to buy them used from Barnes & Noble. But this one is called Trapped by Michael Northrop, and this is a very short book, which I'm kind of excited about because it's a mystery, and it's a YA book, and it even has a scholastic tag on the back, which I think is so funny. But basically this book follows our main character Scotty and his friends, and they get trapped at school. So basically what happens is that this huge blizzard snowstorm comes through their town, and they are part of the last 7 kids at their high school who are waiting to get picked up to go home. And basically the blizzard comes so quickly and so heavily that their parents aren't able to pick them up from school, and so they have to spend the night at the school, or at least until the roads get cleared. At first they're like, this is so fun. I think I would have loved to stay the night in my high school. When I was in high school, I would have thought that was so cool. And we can tell that at the beginning they're like, oh, this is so fun, like we'll just go raid the cafeteria, and a school feels like a very safe place to be during a blizzard, but obviously that wouldn't make for a very interesting book. So it basically says that things start going wrong. The power goes out, and then the heat, and then the pipes freeze, and then the roof shutters. So I'm guessing the roof is going to start collapsing. And it says, as the days add up and the snow piles higher, the chances of survival seem to be slipping away, and Scotty and his friends are forced to make some devastating decisions. ... So this is going to be a very quick read, which I love, especially in a mystery book, and I'm kind of hoping that it will snow big here again sometime soon so I can read this on a snow day, because can you imagine reading a better book on a snow day? Just a tiny little snowed in mystery. But yeah, Trapped by Michael Northrop. I also wanted to show you the bookmark that I bought. This is the literary bookmark, so it's just a stack of books, and I bought the romance one, so it's all romance books stacked up, and it's so cute. It has The Notebook, Pride and Prejudice, Walk to Remember, Bridgerton. So I just thought that was really cute, and I wanted to show you all. It's from Pithy Post. That's the brand of it, but they're so cute. The next 2 books that I bought are also part of a trilogy, but the second one just came out, so the third one isn't out yet. But this is the Lost Bride trilogy by Nora Roberts. And I have never read anything by Nora Roberts before. I know she's a very, renowned author. She's written a lot of books, and I was just really intrigued by the cover of these, and that's kind of why I picked it up. I thought that these were romance books, but they're actually not. We keep them in our fantasy section because any sort of like paranormal or science fiction book is shelved in our fantasy section. So this is kind of like a paranormal situation, but the premise of the first one is that we get kind of a glimpse into what's going on in this book at the very beginning, and it starts off in 1806 with a woman named Astrid, and she is on her wedding day, and she's still in her wedding gown, about to go off with her new husband and live her married life. But before she can even consummate the marriage, which is what the book says, which is so funny to me, she is unfortunately killed. Her last words to Colin, who I'm assuming is her husband, is that she will be with him forever. So fast forward to present day, we meet a graphic designer named Sonia, and she finds out that her late father had a twin that he never knew about, and the twin's name is Colin. So I don't know if it's the same Colin or if it's like a descendant of the first Colin, because I don't think a graphic designer would be working in the 1800s, so I'm not really sure about the timeline of that. But basically, Colin, who is her newly found uncle, has left all of his belongings to her, including this beautiful Victorian mansion in Maine. But the only stipulation of the will is that she has to live in the house for 3 years before it's actually hers. And she has recently ended her own engagement, and so she's like, you know what? I'm just gonna go live in this house. It's beautiful, it's on the coast, and I can kind of figure out more about my father's past and why there was a twin that he never knew about. So she gets to this house and she discovers that it is majorly haunted. Actually, the cover of the book says she finds out that the house is haunted, but only a little bit, which is so funny because, you know, things keep moving and music starts playing out of nowhere. She finds that there is a portrait of her father hanging in her uncle's study, and she's like, why would there be a portrait of my father here? Like, they've never met. And there's also a portrait of Astrid, who is our very first, what we think is the lost bride, and she starts to unravel this mystery because it's not only just a mystery, but she realizes that she has inherited more than a house, but also the curse of this family, and she's basically got to unravel and figure out this puzzle so she doesn't end up, I guess, like Astrid. I don't read a whole lot of paranormal things. That's just never been something that I've been very interested in. I don't know, I just thought these covers were so beautiful, and we had a lot of women come in and like pre-order The Mirror because that's the second book in the series. So I'm excited to read it. And this will be my first Nora Roberts book, so that's kind of exciting. The next book that I have is Play Along, and this is the latest book in the Windy City series by Liz Tom Ford. I have read the first 3 in this series, and I've liked them more and more as they've gone on, and I've heard that this one is a lot of people's favorite. I really like watching Sarah Caroli's book videos, and she really liked this one. She gave this one a 5-star. This one is Kennedy and Isaiah's book, and again, we're introduced to them in the 3rd book of the series, and I think I'm gonna like them as characters, so I'm excited to read this one. Hopefully I think it's a 5-star too. I haven't had a 5-star read yet this year. I am reading Onyx Storm, which I'm guessing is going to be a 5-star because I've given the whole series 5 stars, but I would love to have another 5-star in my repertoire this year, so hopefully we'll like this one. And she's actually releasing the 5th book in the series, which follows a character that I love, Rio, and I have to get ready for that. So Play Along by Liz Tom Ford. I had to change the battery on my camera, but we're back. That's how I know I've been talking for a while, if I went through an entire camera battery. I hope this video isn't too long, but speaking of Onyx Storm, I bought the special limited edition of 4th Wing. I just had to have this. It has the dragon sprayed edges, which the version of Onyx Storm that I have also has dragon sprayed edges, and I just love this series. You need to read this series if you haven't. Even if you don't think you like fantasy, even if you don't think you're interested in dragons, please read this because it is just, oh, it's so good. So if you know nothing about 4th Wing, basically this follows our main character Violet, and she decides to enter the writer's quadrant of her school. So people in Basquiat go to school within quadrants, and so she has been basically raised her entire life to go into the scribe quadrant, and those are the people who record history of the dragons and the battles and all of that. But at the very last minute, she decides to enter the writer's quadrant, which are the people who ride the dragons, and it's a very cutthroat school. Multiple people die throughout the book, and multiple people die during their schooling, but if you make it through everything, you get to bond with a dragon. And we just follow Violet's story from there. She starts making friends, and she maybe finds a little love, and I'm telling you, you will fall in love with these characters. I don't know what Rebecca Yarros puts in her books to make you love her characters so much. It's just, I think it's because she creates each, even side character, with an arc and with a personality and just with like their own little quirks to grow to know and love. And you need to read this book. I am begging you, even if you don't think you're gonna like it, just give 4th Wing a try and see what you think, because I have a feeling you're gonna love it because the dragons are adorable and everything about this book is just chef's kiss. The next book I have is Daisy Hates by Jessa Hastings, and this is the 2nd book in the Magnolia Park series. And I mentioned this in my year wrap-up video that I felt very underwhelmed by Magnolia Parks, that I couldn't figure out why everyone loves that series so much because I really did not like that first book. But when I tell you that there are so many people in my life that are obsessed with Magnolia Parks and that just love that series with their whole heart, kind of the way that I feel about 4th Wing, a lot of people in my life feel that way about Magnolia Parks, and so I want to feel that too, and I want to understand where they're coming from. So I'm continuing on, even though I don't fully get it yet. I have faith that I will. This one starts the parallel series in this series. So what I understand is that Magnolia Parks has the Magnolia Parks part of the series, but then also has the Daisy Hates part of the series. And they both follow the girls that are named Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates, but it's technically called Magnolia Parks like universe. But this one is the first one where we are introduced to Daisy Hates. And yeah, she is part of London's most notorious gang family. She starts dating Christian, who is a character that we are introduced to in Magnolia Parks, and I don't know. I just don't know if this series is going to be for me. I want it to be for me because I want to understand why people love this book so much, but TBD on that. I'm giving it a go though, which I feel like is all you can ask. And then last but not least, I have a couple of like inspirational books, and I'm not a huge self-help book person at all. My mom and I laugh at each other because our reading tastes are very, very different. And there's nothing my mom loves more than a self-help book, but that's just never been my thing. But I do love a good like inspirational book now and then. So I'll just show you what I picked up. This one is Kristin Chenoweth's book, which I obviously had to get because I'm majorly obsessed with Wicked right now. This is called I'm No Philosopher, But I Got Thoughts, Many Meditations for Saints, Sinners, and the Rest of Us. And you just know with Kristin Chenoweth that this is going to be so witty and funny, and it's more of like a flip through book. I'll kind of show you all. It's a lot of quotes and graphics, and it's not a self-help book in any way, shape, or form, but it's just quotes that she likes, stories from her own past. I'm just going to read the back to you because I feel like I'm not explaining this very well. It says, what you have here in your hot little hands is the perfect book for when you need an extra boost of confidence, an inappropriate giggle, or a swift stiletto kick in the yoga pants to help you discover your own philosophy of life. Are you kidding me? I love her. From award-winning actress and New York Times bestselling author Kristin Chenoweth comes an irreverent yet inspiring, timely tome with all the fixins, from clever cogitations, what is that word? Cogitations? I don't know what that means. To philosophical-ish musings. Stroll alongside Kristin as she shares her most vulnerable and humorous stories in her never-ending pursuit to find the rainbows in every day. Before you know it, you'll be grinning faster than you can spell Oklahoma. Fair warning, this book contains sass, so I feel like I couldn't put it better than that. I'm excited to read this. I think it'll be fun to just keep on like my desk or something and flip through it when I need a little pick-me-up. I also have this one. This one is called Romance the Everyday, Inspired Ideas for a Year of Little Luxuries. I picked this up because I loved the cover of it so much, and it's actually a really cool concept. So basically, I've already read the foreword of this book, but this woman is basically like, the only way to really enjoy life is to enjoy the little moments as well as the big ones. If you don't, you'll just be waiting for those big moments to happen in life instead of enjoying those little things that can make you feel just as good. So there are 52 ideas for you to enjoy the little things in life, so you can do one every single week. And I just love the idea of that because it's not something that you have to be doing every single day. And I'm telling you, these are like the tiniest little things to do. Like this one is just to visit a library, but the way that she describes things are so beautiful, and it really does romanticize everything. I think that's what this book is trying to help you do, is just romanticize your life, and she gives you 52 ways to do it. So I loved that one. I also picked up this book called Daily Wisdom for Women, the 2025 Devotional Collection. And I mentioned this in my winter arc video that I wanted to get back into doing a devotional. And I couldn't decide if I wanted to do like a little quick one every morning or if I wanted to do an actual Bible study. And so I decided to pick up both. And I thought I could just do, like I could switch off. This one is definitely an easier one to do in the morning because it is something for every single day. And it's actually dated, which is cool. But it is just a Bible verse and then something to read about the Bible verse and then a prayer at the very end. So I thought that'd be a nice way to start out my day every morning. This is going to take me barely 5 minutes to do, but it's just a nice little thing to add into your morning routine. And then this is a actual Bible study. So this is a little bit more involved, but I feel like I have more time to do this kind of thing at night. And so I thought I could just slowly work my way through this Bible study throughout the year. I mean, I think I'll probably finish it before the end of the year because it's not very big, but while I want to commit to doing this one every single day, I know I probably won't do this one every single day because I'll get tired before I go to bed and whatnot, but I do want to make an effort to at least try to take part in this Bible study throughout the year. And this one is on Esther, which I've always loved studying Esther. that is the queen in the Bible who uses her queendom for good, basically. So I thought this would be a good one, and I'm excited. I will keep you all updated if I've liked this one or not. And I think I am going to enjoy this little daily wisdom. It's just a nice way to start out the day, you know? And it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to just pick this up and read it in the morning. And I love adding things like that into my morning routine. So I think that's all I have. It was a lot. I did some major damage at the bookstore. But again, that's just always been my favorite thing to do. I get a lot of satisfaction out of buying books. I hope you all enjoyed this book haul. I will still be posting book videos throughout the rest of the year, so I'm sure you will see some of these books in a wrap-up video or a reading vlog or something. But if you all have any specific book videos that you'd like to see me do, please let me know. I'm very intrigued to see if you would like to see more of a reading vlog situation or more of like an end of the month wrap up talking about the books that I read and why I like them and rating them and things. So give me some suggestions down below and I will definitely take them to heart. So thank you all so much for watching and spending this cozy little video with me. I really enjoyed filming at night. I feel very calm right now and I feel like it's gonna be nice to go to bed after this because I just feel very like at peace. So I'm gonna finish my tea and go read more into Onyx Storm. We're gonna have to talk about Onyx Storm at some point when I finish it because I'm only 300 pages in. It's like a 600-page book and there has been so much happening. So stay tuned for a little Onyx Storm chat as well. But thank you all so much for watching. Have a good night and I will see you soon.